Hey y'all, come with me as I turn this 613 lace from this to this. You see that beautiful red color? Now this method I'm going to show you guys, you can do this method with any fantasy color and watercolor method. Now, what you're going to need is your frontal and or closure, as you can see. And you're going to need your spatula brush, applicator brush, excuse me. You're also going to need your conditioner. I'm using the Garnier Fructis clarifying conditioner. Then you're going to need your hair color. Obviously, I'm using red by Adore in the color 68, crimson. And you're going to need a hairspray of your choice. And I'm going with the Got to Be Glued because that's just that girl. That's what I use. Also, I have a bucket that I'm using because I don't want to stain my sink. Now, the purpose of this method is to make sure that none of the color stains or bleeds through your scalp area on the lace. So the first thing I'm going to do is grab that Got to Be Glued hairspray, and I'm just going to spray the entire lace with it. Now, when I first started doing this, I was air drying it in this method, but what I noticed was that the hair was getting stuck to the counter because hairspray was on the counter. Now, what you want to do is go ahead and spray it approximately 3 times. And as you can see, this time I decided to just air dry it by using my, oh my God, this man. Child, this is the third part. I got to tell y'all this story time, man. People is funny. And they think they so slick. Woo, child. Anyway, back to this lace. I'm going to tell y'all this story time, though. All right, so you want to spray it for the 3rd time and let that air dry or whatever. Yo, oh, wow. I can't wait to tell y'all this story. Oh, I can't wait. Man. Okay, focus. All right, so now you want to take your conditioner. And again, I'm using a clarifying conditioner. And what the conditioner is going to do is going to act as a barrier so that the color does not stick to or adhere to the lace or bleed through the lace and get on anything else besides what you wanted to get on. Even though we're watercoloring, you want to make sure your scalp doesn't get stained. So now that applicator brush, you're going to take the applicator brush and just smooth out the conditioner evenly, focusing on that hairline because again, my pet peeve with colors is, especially fantasy colors like reds, your blues, your greens, stuff like that, is when you do those type of colors, sometimes, a lot of the times, what happens is the lace itself gets stained by the color. And so now, instead of it doesn't matter how much you pluck, it doesn't matter what you do with the lace, it's just going to look like you have this red, blue, or green band across your forehead. It don't matter how much you try to melt it. It don't matter how much makeup you put on there. It don't matter what you do. You're just going to have that red line, that blue line, that green line going straight across your forehead. So to counteract that, you want to go ahead and use this method. And again, like I said, the conditioner is going to be a barrier so that the color does not stain the lace. So as you saw, I went in with the first application, then I went in with the second one. And now we're going to go ahead and fill up the bucket with water, hot water, preferably. So the thing is with hair, let's go into a little science, okay? A little hair chemistry. Water breaks down the disulfide bonds in the hair. And what that means is basically water breaks down the barrier so that the hair can absorb whatever it is that you're putting on it, be it conditioner, or in this instance, hair color, or whatever it is. Now, what makes hair color or the watercolor method work is that the water is breaking down the disulfide bond in the hair, but it also leaves that cuticle open so that the color molecules can be inserted into the hair. So it's a double action process that's happening in one um, method that you're doing, if that makes sense to y'all. Okay, boom. So now we've already filled up our bucket. We're going to go ahead and take our hair color and take off that little protective barrier. And now you're just going to take all your hair color and you're just going to dump it into that water. But going back to the conditioner, so I'm using clarifying conditioner. And as you guys saw, I put hairspray onto this lace. And I like the fact that I'm using the clarifying conditioner because it's going to remove any residue or anything left over that could weigh down the lace, that could disturb the application when I do get ready to apply this lace onto my scalp. Well, not my scalp, my forehead, girl, because you don't want to put it on your scalp because then that means you ain't got no edges. You want your edges. So, but yeah, it's going to remove any residue, being that it's clarifying. Now let me show y'all how to get some money, to how to stretch your money out, this hair color stuff. Even when you pour out all of the hair color, you still have lots and lots of hair color in your bottle. So what I do, and what you probably seen a lot of people do, is they go ahead and put some water into that bottle and shake it up and down. And as you can see, when you turn it over, baby, you got to take the top off first. When you turn it over, boom, hair color. Why does the water part not matter? Because we're watercoloring the hair anyway. So you're going to go ahead and get all of that color out of it. All 38 cents that's left in that bottle. We need that too. And you're going to put that into your bucket. Again, the bucket is used so that your sink does not get stained with any hair color that you're using, because these hair colors do bleed and they tend to linger even once you're done with the process. So that you don't have to fight with removing this color, just go ahead and put it in a bucket or use another container and cut yourself a cleanup time, because some things you can avoid, and that's one of those things. But child, let's get back to this story, man. I can't even touch it. I gotta sit down and touch this story for y'all. All right, so now that we have our lace prepped, primed, and ready, we're just gonna dip it. It's very, very simple, very, very easy. Did we do more steps than the regular just taking your wig, lace, or frontal, or closure and just dipping it right out the pack? Yes. Why? Because we're going for a certain effect. We're going for a certain illusion. And that illusion is, yes, even though this hair is going to be red, we still want it to look like a natural red colored scalp. We don't want it to look like a line or a lace or artificial hairline. So to avoid that, we did all of those steps that we did before, and now we can go ahead and dip and watercolor our hair. So you're going to dip it. Make sure that the hair gathers all of the color molecules out of that water. And that's literally what it's doing. It's drawing out all of that color, and the hair is just picking it all up. And now you have a red wig, girl. You have a red lace. You have a red closure. Whatever color it is that you're using, that you're able to do watercolors with, you'll have that color, girl. Okay? So I just did this part was like the most easy part for me to do. This didn't take long at all. All of this is easy. But it didn't take long. And for the girlies in the back that's questioning and wondering, yes, Mama's does have her cosmetology license from Florida since 2013. Okay? Clock that T. So I know what I'm talking about, okay? I most definitely know what I'm talking about. And I was in the wig business for a very long time. Took me a break. Life happens. Anyways, we're back to it. So we're going to keep doing this method until you're satisfied with what you got. And it can't really go too many places, girl, when you're doing it. It's going to be red. It's going to be whatever color you put up in it. You only can dip it but so much, okay? But just make sure your entire wig or frontal or whatever it is saturated with that color so that you don't have to go back and do any touch-ups. Now, for me, this method is much more easier than sitting there with the applicator brush, a bowl of color, or a toothbrush or an edge brush, trying to make sure you do this tedious method tonight. Girl, please, who got time for that? Anyways, do it this way, preferably, because everybody have their methods. But drop down in the comments what method you prefer to use or what method you find the most efficient when you're doing your stuff. For me, it's always going to be this, hands down. Hands down, it's always going to be this method. Now, once I take that out, I'm going to immediately run that cold water in all over the frontal. And now what temperatures matter, okay? Temperatures matter when it comes to this stuff. Because what the cold water is going to do, although water still breaks down the disulfide bonds in the hair, but what cold water is going to do is it's going to close the cuticles in the hair. Now, why is this important? Because now you're sealing the color as much as you possibly can. Okay, and as you guys saw, that there was still some conditioner and hairspray residue on there, and what I decided to do was take my Cream of Nature shampoo. I love this. I use this on my actual real hair. Sickening. And you're just going to shampoo the back of that lace to get all of that product built up off of there and remove it, because the cold water is going to freeze that stuff and make it much more difficult to remove versus using something that's made to remove dirt and debris. Although we didn't use any dirt or debris, it's still going to lift up that conditioner, remove that filmy residue and anything left behind, so that you can have a clean application when you get ready to slay, queen. I know y'all love the gay lingo, girl, so I'm going to give y'all a little bit of that. But yeah, shampoo it up, get all of that stuff. And as you can see, these colors, fantasy colors, it doesn't matter what brand you use, they bleed. We just did a watercolor, and guess what it's doing? It's bleeding. Bleeding is basically code word for the hair color running and or staining, okay? But as you can see, as I wash off the shampoo, it is literally giving me a crispy, clean foundation. Hello? Very clean, very cutesy, very demure. I've been watching that demure lady. She got a story, man. Like, wow. Who knew that coming into popularity and fame or whatever can make people I mean, wow, it happens. But yeah, she has a story. Anyway, back to the lace. But yeah, you know, the shampoo washes it off, and now you have this really nice clean foundation. And y'all, that's pretty much it. That's all you have to do when it comes to this stuff. It's not hard at all. And again, we're still using cold water because the cold water is sealing everything in at this point. Once you take the closure wig or whatever it is out, your whole purpose is to make sure that the cuticle is sealed. Now, here I am showing you guys how everything should look. And as you can see, my hairline is not stained. Yes, you see that? The hairline is not stained, and you can see the plucking in it's giving scalp. 2 fingers touching, clock that T. You see that? Clean lace, no bleeding on the lace. 2 fingers touching, clock that T. You see that? Put it back on the hand. You see that? Part it. You can part it and see what? Scalpiana. Yes, ma'am. You see that? Now, this part was a little difficult for me to do because I'm literally holding the lace in one hand and trying to show you guys as best as I can. But y'all can see that scalpiana. Clock that T. Hello? Y'all, this is the easiest thing, but little details have big impacts. And so for any of you who are doing these things at home, try this method and let me know how it works out for you. Or if you have your own method that you use, drop down in the comments and let me know. And let's get this conversation going.